Hello and welcome to Chapter 261 of the DC Alliance podcast. With me, as always, is Joe. Joe, how you doing today?
The kind of set me like threw me for a loop
That
there.
was before we went live, so it was not captured.
Well, are you sure about
Channeling
that?
my inner Ryan Burgundy.
Okay. I'm doing good. Busy. Had a busy week. Got a busy weekend ahead of me. Um, yeah, yeah. Just it's been a week. Um, not like nothing's bad. Just work between work and podcasting. I'm trying to get ahead on my other show because I've brought comics back into on the show.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to read and take notes, but then I also don't want other shows that I'm doing to fall behind. So like trying to balance all that out is I know I can do it and I'm going to do it. It's just annoying because of the beginning of the year and everything, just as much
It's
content is coming out right now and I want to put out. It's not overwhelming yet.
it's
I can
very
see it being over there though.
it's very hard sometimes when you have multiple shows and then you're trying to fit them in and you're trying to do pre-recordings to give you a bit of like leeway going
Yeah.
forward.
Well,
Uh,
and that's I know I discussed it in the group chat at one point, and a lot of it was it's just going to come down to me balancing everything out. So like with because Invincible is back, Walk Through the Multiverse is going to be talking about that over the next month. Um, so and I've set a strict like, all right, I'm talking about that on this day at this time.
Got one episode done already. Got one episode done
That a
already.
boy.
Be proud of me. Don't worry. I'll get to
That
three
a boy.
before tomorrow evening.
But tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning.
Anyways,
Yeah. Sorry.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't do
Yeah.
evening. I'm busy.
No.
I'm
I
busy.
thought you had a special time for the first three.
Oh, I got special time for all of them.
No, I thought
Like
it was a different time for the
yes,
rest of
because
them. Yeah.
but that is gonna be earlier because I got
Yeah.
something else going on.
Yeah.
Um,
I knew
but
it was a special time. That's all. Just give me
it's
that
gonna be
credit.
yeah, you got special time, but it's balancing it all out to be like, all right, I have to make sure I meet this deadline so that I can turn around and edit it and put it up. That's
Yeah.
really all it's gonna be. Like I've got to meet deadlines, which when it comes down to it, I'm pretty good at.
Yeah, especially if it's
Usually.
not a live show. Well, there's good and bad to that. If it's a live show for me, to be honest with you, there's not a lot of editing I can do to make the sound terrific to get it up for the next day.
Yeah.
Especially depending on time we finish. I know us moving DC Alliance back an hour was really helpful to me to get it like to give it a once over just in case to
Yeah.
make sure everything was done, T's crossed, I's dotted. Like it's very helpful, but like the Animation Nation one, I can spend if I record that on a Saturday, I can spend a couple hours picking at that to make sure I think the sound quality is as good as it can possibly be.
Right.
But then you run the risk of spending too much time on that kind of stuff too. So it's always a like
It's a balance. You gotta find the balance.
yeah,
So
it's a super balance. You really it's tough sometimes, but it's fun. And I love this stuff that we're talking about. Pretty dull week for me, Joe. Nothing fun on my end. Water boiler broke. Dog, I was looking at my phone checking scores in basketball games, and the dog went backwards to pee, and I wasn't paying attention. And my dog is 90-pound part husky who was a stray for 3 years, so he's got that swole on. And yeah,
yeah.
he tugged me, and my neck has been like it's like at 70% now. When I recorded Animation Nation, I was like Michael Keaton's Batman in Batman '89, going like my whole body had turned whenever I turned. So it's gotten a lot better. It's good. So let me get the network plugs out of the way, and we'll catch up on Harley Quinn. Listeners, we are part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance with 6 shows in total. On Mondays, bi-weekly is Ranger Alliance. On Tuesdays, they walk through the Multiverse. On Wednesdays is the Animation Nation. On Thursdays is Star Wars Alliance. On Fridays is Marvel Alliance. And on Saturdays is DC Alliance. Star Wars Alliance goes live on the Geekverse YouTube channel Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Marvel Alliance goes live Thursdays at 9:10 p.m. Eastern Time. And DC Alliance goes live Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. All 3 of those shows also have their own podcast feeds. Search DC Alliance, Marvel Alliance, and Star Wars Alliance if you just want DC content, Marvel content, or Star Wars content only. But if you want all 6 shows on the G-Way Podcast Network, stay subscribed to G-Way on your podcast app of choice. We also have a Patreon, 2 tiers, a $1 tier, and a $5 tier. The dollar tier is basically a tip jar, like we're doing. You want to help us out any way you can. And the $5 tier is where you get your extras. You get your ad-free episodes, early access episodes, and Patreon exclusive episodes. Myself and Joe are going through all the DC films through the years. Stick with us. We have over 30 pieces of content up for the patrons there. We have the Marvel Alliance guys with their Tales from the House of X, all their favorite Fox Marvel films they reviewed, and they're also their Infinity Saga on the backlog. And currently we have Joe's Multiverse Minutes, where he's doing his Disney deep dive. Not only is he reviewing a Disney film, but he's giving you fun behind the scenes, tidbits, facts, all that sort of thing. We thank everyone that's a patron, but if you're not a patron, if you take a quick 30, 60 seconds, rate and review the podcast on your podcast app of choice, it's always greatly appreciated. It helps other people find the shows, and that's always a good thing. Okay, Joe, we have a show that we're catching up on, not right all the way, so the headline for the episode may be a little misleading, and that's on me.
You
But
what? Never.
but since we have no content, we weren't going to watch all 5 episodes of Harley Quinn.
4 actually.
4, sorry.
Yeah.
So we
I thought it was 5. That's my bad.
We'll do 2, and then be current with it.
Sure.
After that. So just something a little talk about. But Joe, what do you think about? Well, what were your thoughts on season 4 going into season 5?
I'm really glad that they did that recap because I completely forgot about everything that happened in season 4.
Same. I didn't remember a thing when I started.
Which is not. I mean, it's not.
Actually, no. I did remember one thing, which Nightwing died.
Yes.
And he was brought back at the very end.
I say I didn't remember it, but like as soon as they started playing the thing, I'm like, oh yeah, it's all coming back to me. The problem is that because we've got so much content right now, just for not DC stuff, but just for everything.
Yeah.
Like it's just like I've got too much. Plus, I've been spending the last month rewatching the Defenders saga, which I just got through dead.
I know. I had to put that jiffy in when you put that there. I was like, "What am I doing? Why didn't I finish that?" And I just wrote, "Welcome to the party, pal." Like,
that was great.
It was arguably the best season of the 3. Like, there was an argument for it. Like, I could, if you were arguing,
it started out slow in my opinion, but like ramped up. I think I still like season 2 better, just because Punisher was great.
He was. The hand stuff got a little convoluted towards the end.
It did.
Especially considering what happened with Defenders.
Yeah, sure, yes. I mean, it all came together in Defenders, but whatever. That's besides the point. Yeah. I just started Punisher season 2 today, so I'm like 5 or 6 episodes in that. That's been kind of fun.
That's good too. That's good.
Anyway, so because we've had so much great content, and because I've been watching that content to prepare for more great content coming up, I kind of forgot about Harley, and then like a month ago when it returned, I'm like, oh yeah, Harley Quinn's back. I need to go watch that, and I did. Emily and I, my girlfriend and I, we sat and watched the first 2 episodes together, and I mean this show is definitely one of my favorites. It's not one that I'm gonna be like I need to watch constantly because we're like when you brought this up to me today, you asked how many episodes I watched. I'm like, oh yeah, I've only watched the first 2 because I've been busy. But it still is a fun show. Like just having these characters back and just seeing everybody and like we even get Frank back in the season, which is awesome. It's a blast. Going into this, I'd forgotten everything. Once we saw the recap, I'm like, oh yes, okay. Everything has kind of been like shuffled. And then obviously we'll get into what's been going on. But I really thought they were going to pick up right from, Harley leaving the Bat family and Nightwing being resurrected. No. We get a hint at that.
We get a couple hints at that. Yeah.
But no. What about you?
I remember being a little bit more down on season 4 than the rest, but the first 2 seasons were really special to me. It was like something completely different that we'd never seen before. Now we're getting into the same sort of tropes. Harley and I haven't like they're steady, but they're like there's not much challenges for them. It's the same typical like they broke off doing stuff line, and then it all smashes together, and they're like, shoot, I should have told you about that. I should have told you about this kind of thing. But
yeah, and I agree with you on season 1 and 2 being special. I mean, because they made both those at the same time and then split it.
You know what else I thought it was too, Joe? It was the crew. Like the whole
Yes.
crew, I loved every one of those crew characters. I thought that was a little bit better as an ensemble. Like I liked Ivy being a part too, like of it, but I just wish that they didn't like jettison most of those characters off into like little tiny cameo appearances, like for
Yeah.
brief moments rather than full episodes. Like for King Shark in the second episode, I kind of was hoping to see him at some points in the episode, but it was literally for like 10 seconds. And I'm like, you were an OG member for 2 seasons and a half.
Yeah, I mean,
And
we had Clayface last season who showed up
he just showed
what
up for
in the
half a
back half.
second. Yeah, for half
Yeah.
a second, like there just to help out with something. And same thing with Dr. Psycho, but he kind of went evil. But even him, they were all evil to an extent. But
Yes, but we did get Bane elevated to being a I think a fan favorite because he is lit. I mean, he left Harley Quinn and was on Kite Man
Hype
for the
Man,
whole season,
yes,
which I never did finish that. I need to finish that
I
though.
did, I did, I did.
Yeah.
It was okay. And but I've accepted the show before I went into these 2 episodes as what it is now.
Yes.
So I'm not hoping to see like Harley Quinn go through all these struggles or anything like that. So I've come to accept it, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the craziness, some of the funny like side characters. There is a little bit of mystery as to like, is there just going to be one big bad too? Because we do have, like Joe mentioned, a looming threat of the previous season that hasn't really been touched on much. But there's a growing presence of a new threat that you can easily see if you just look at any of those automatons that are going around
Yeah.
Metropolis. I do
I
like the switch in city too, though. I thought that was needed for this show.
yeah. I mean, it sucks that I can guarantee that what happened in Gotham is probably going to repeat in Metropolis,
We can wonder who
especially
the
after
causes
episode
are then.
2. But
We
like,
can wonder who our causes are then.
yeah, that I can't wait for them by the end of the season to be like, man, Metropolis sucks. Let's go back to Gotham, and Gotham is this like sprawling city
Paradise.
because they're gone.
Yes, yes. Because I do like, how'd you get the chunks out of the water? Like chunks out of the water? What are we, Gotham City? So
Yeah.
before we get into the 2 episodes, let's take our first ad break of the evening. Listeners, we're an ad support network. Go pick the ad to design. Going to give you a quick 3 count to adjust your volume, and we'll be right back in 3, 2, 1. We are back. Okay, Joe. Let's get into the 2 episodes. I want to say too, whoever's doing the fandom, harleyquinn.fandom.com for wiki, you got to turn in your badge because the people at just the bare minimum wiki are destroying you in episode breakdowns. Just
Look, man, everybody's busy. I
oh
did the
yeah,
same thing when I covered Arcane. Like they had a great breakdown of season 1. Now, mind you, when I watched season 1, it had been out for like 2 years. But then when I went to go cover season 2, they had nothing. So I had to actually
don't
do
be
my
that person that does this and doesn't put anything in there. That's all. It's just even the wiki. Just copy the wiki if you're not going to do anything else. Like, come on. So the first episode, the big apricot, and we basically find out right away that Harley and Ivy are basically in a lazy routine for the last year
Yeah,
after the fizzle out of the Gotham City Sirens. What do you think about that little appearance?
didn't realize it was a year. They just kind of said whatever. But I mean, they had sirens, which I love Gotham City Sirens. Um, I was a big like supporter of that series when it came out. Every time they have a special, a mini series, I try to buy it. Just because I love those characters. I definitely felt bad for Barbara because, and I think really more so that this happened off screen, Joker paralyzing Barbara and her
Yeah.
becoming Oracle. That kind of feels like I'm not going to say like we got cheated out of something.
Little tiny bit because of how much she was featured last season.
Yes, but because she's here for literally like a second,
Yeah.
she's the voice in the ear, the person in the
Guy in the
chair.
person in the chair.
Yeah, but they're ignoring her literally every single time.
Yeah.
Like
Because they're
they don't
villains.
treat her well. Yeah, but the sirens are here, which is great. As soon as they're going after the
Enchantress.
going after Enchantress for her, she's got the Heart of Darkness gem, I
Yeah.
believe. And as soon as they said that, I'm like, oh, Eclipso, it's gonna be great. I thought that was gonna play out more. No,
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 he
we'll
gets
see that at the end of the episode.
he gets bodied, but yeah, I did enjoy that too. That they basically go through that, and then Clock King and Riddler call him out and say you're in a rut, and ultimately they end up going to the Superman museum, the new Superman museum unveiling in Metropolis. What do you think about them finally visiting Metropolis and the stark contrast between Metropolis and Gotham,
I
Joe, in this
do
show?
love that. Like they literally just pan over, and it's like this dark brooding from Gotham, and it has literally like the wavy lines of like, oh, nice sunny day at Metropolis. And my girlfriend's just like, wait, hold on, wait, what? She was laughing about that one.
Again, I thought it was perfect, and all this chaos that was happening in Gotham, like people getting killed, like Man Bat taking people away.
That was just this giant rat just comes up and grabs the cheese Danish that Harley had and runs off. Like, what? Okay,
Again,
Gotham.
Gotham, and then Metropolis is not like that at all. And they go to the gala. They're loud and easily first. They meet Bruce, who's going out with Lena Luthor now.
Yeah.
Bravo, Bruce, because it doesn't look like she's of sound mind.
Well, is he though?
Yeah, of course, he's kind of gone down a rabbit hole there in this show. So Harley is pissed off because Superman has not thanked her for saving him last year.
Yeah.
She's going to steal the most valuable item they have there that they're going to show off at the end of this opening gala. And I do like how she steals a mint from Jimmy Olsen, and then the bots kick him out. Those automatons, sorry,
Yeah.
that basically are making Superman obsolete, and I think that's basically the whole plan of them.
Yeah. As soon as I saw the bots and their eyes, I'm like, oh, I know who that is.
Yeah, like I know who made those, not you, Lena. And yeah, we know who the big bad of that is, Brainiac, of course.
Yep.
Yeah, so there wasn't much to that. They got kicked out. They switch out with gymnastics people and do this giant flying trapeze artistry thing. What do you think about this whole scene, Joe? That ends up like with them getting the Superman cape.
It's perfect. And when they do see Superman later, he explains, because Harley's like, oh man, like I know you feel bad for not being able to save people, but like, look, I still stole your prized possession. And Superman's like, you didn't steal anything. It's still sitting in the museum. They figured, the bots like calculated that the best way for you to not cause mayhem is to let you steal it.
Let you
Like,
think you won.
yeah. So
And
it's like, oh man, like Superman really is in a rut.
yeah, he's pretty down on himself, and ultimately, him and Harley have a little back and forth. She looks in and gets looks in the reflective surface and sees her psychiatrist self, gives him a little ear and advice, and Superman's going off in space to find out what Superman wants.
With Clark Kent.
With Clark Kent. He's taking that cool guy Clark Kent with him.
Yeah.
And I love how Harley and Ivy think Clark and Superman are having an affair.
I mean, like, okay, sure. Makes sense.
Yeah, and that pretty much ends the episode with them deciding to move to Metropolis, and their recent activities are being monitored by Brainiac.
Yeah. He's looking on. He's like, he's not sure if this is good or bad. Probably more bad, only because of how
the destructive force of those two.
That was unpredictable. Like, who knows?
That's true. So Joe, let's flick into the second episode here, Back to School. And this is where we get the appearance of King Shark, and where I'm very disappointed because he comes here, drops off his kids, and we don't see him for the rest of the episode. Actually,
yeah,
I think
but his kids are great.
Does he show up and get the kids at the end? I don't think he does.
He doesn't. No, because what happens is when they see, I can't remember with the one, again, like Ivy says that Harley will miss him,
Miss him.
Or that, but also, like, do you think that King Shark will be back because he forgot, or see that he forgot this one? I don't know. I like King Shark. I like
Yeah.
Clayface. I like the supporting cast, and
So
I
I
agree
wish,
with you. We don't have them.
yeah, I wish we would have seen him. I wish he would have been there with him this episode, or at least came back at some point to look for his kids that we got to see. But no, he's leaving them with Harley. He has a hot date living with both of his godmothers and his 8 kids, I think, 8 shark babies.
Something like that. I didn't count.
And Harley, Ivy immediately bails because in the previous episode, Lena asked her how she would improve this stuff, and now she's going to work to improve the like greenery around Metropolis. Uh, and so Harley stuck with him, but she gets invited to Vincent Edge's country club with Lena. So because there's a birthday party being held, we don't know for who, Joe, at the moment, but uh, we do find out it pretty quickly. And whose birthday party is it?
It's Goldilocks,
Yes,
Bane's adopted daughter.
yes. Which
That's kind of
again,
fun.
that's hilarious.
Now, again, so I didn't finish Kite Man. His wife
I think so. Yes, I vaguely remember that. It's been a little while, but I do think
is like
I thought that had something to do with the going back and forth between time, but I can't remember now.
okay.
It's been a while. It's been a while since I watched the
Uh,
ending of Kite Man.
okay.
Uh, yeah. So, uh, essentially, let's just. I guess we'll go through the Harley side of the story because it's pretty quick. Uh, Harley doesn't want the Shark Babies to mess up her applying for this fancy ass club. They do, it causes chaos ensues, and they basically go ham on all the
Yeah.
people at the party besides Goldilocks, but Bean has her picked up. Uh, but Lena swoops in and allows Harley to join. What do you think about Harley's little journey here, Joe, in this episode? I
Um,
thought it was pretty sort of, and it just basically was more set up for Lena than anything else for me.
definitely for Lena. I mean, it just shows Lena being I'm not gonna say manipulative. I mean, she is. She's a Luthor. Although I've seen different iterations of Lena Luthor being great and then
Yeah,
being manipulative. Um, I don't know her end game yet,
yeah,
and that is I'm not gonna say the tricky thing, but I mean, I'm assuming that she's working with Brainiac, right? Like
that's what I'm assuming as well.
she has to be.
She could even be a copy of Brainiac has put out there.
That's a good possibility too.
So again, Harley's is pretty straightforward, but I would have liked to be a little bit more King Shark in there. Ivy's is really the good part of this episode. So she is getting put together
The
to work
interesting part
with,
of the episode, I would say.
yes, where she gets put together to work with Dr. Jason Woodrow again, and they have a history, Joe. So what do you think about the flashbacks between these two?
Um, for the show makes sense.
Yeah,
Seeing how Ivy became Ivy was fun. That's
yeah.
definitely interesting.
It
Um,
was. It was definitely. I thought that was pretty interesting, and see them with the relationship and how that played out, and plus Avi wanting to run away first and then come back slowly, and her making him think that she was starting to get the hots for him again, and wanting to pick up where
I
they left
mean,
off.
Ivy's a really good villain. Let's be
Yeah,
honest.
and her turning 30 tables. He was terrible. He basically locked her in, took her design, her experiment to pass
Yeah,
off as his own.
we got to see baby Frank.
And yeah, she turned into poison ivy to save herself. It was that or die.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, again, and then everyone thought she was terrible with her experiment, and I do like how it was all ruse, her being nice to him to basically get him alone, and she goes ham on him, Joe, and leaves him with the same opportunity that she was left with, where he's locked in with the same kind of stuff, and it looks like his face melts off,
Well,
but
probably a little different, considering that he actually changes
yeah.
versus before with Ivy, it would have probably killed her.
Hmm.
Um, so I don't know. It'll be like that's definitely the the interesting thing is that Lena is not like monitoring this, like especially as she's been like seeing everything. And again, we know Brainiac is the one who's seeing everything, but like if something blows up in their lab, like if the experiment happens and she's overseeing it, Like, if she should be overseeing it, she should be aware, right? You think? I don't know. Maybe I'm just putting too much credit into it. Like, maybe I'm thinking way too much into it, and I should just be like, "Hey, it's a fun show. Just watch
It's
it,
fun.
idiot." Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, she just completely destroys him, and it looks like that's it for him. But obviously, that's not the case. He comes out as the Floronic Man, Joe.
Yeah. As soon as the Woodrow popped up, I'm like, "Ooh, that should be fun." Because I'm who he becomes. Yeah.
And yeah, the next two episodes are Floronic Man and Breaking Brainiac. So
Oh, interesting. Okay.
we get we're getting Brainiac's backstory. I think I'll stop reading there now. But cool. I enjoyed these episodes. I look forward to watching the next two for next week. Let's
Yeah.
take our final ad break before we get into the little bit of news we got and take the rest of the night off. Listeners, we're an ads part network. We don't pick the ads or the volume. We're going to do a quick 3 count to adjust your volume, and we'll be right back in 3, 2, 1. We're back. Okay, Joe. Not a whole lot of news here today, just some stuff I was able to pick out.
Okay.
First one interests me, so I was curious about your thoughts. I have one for my heart and one for what's telling me in my head. There's 3 big movies coming out for July. July 2nd is Jurassic World Rebirth. We got trailers for all these now.
Yes.
Superman is coming out July 11th, and the Fantastic Four is coming out July 25th. I was very curious if you could rank these 3 in terms of what you think the highest box office is to the lowest when they're all said and done.
Oh, okay. Ooh. Okay. Well, everybody. I don't say everybody. The Jurassic movies have a following.
Yes, they do. They even had a comic back in the day. I do remember like Tops used to make that, I think.
Yeah. Don't tell my co-host over Comic Rundown that they'll want me to put it on the list.
They're not well. They're interesting. I remember.
Doesn't matter. Here's the thing: if it's a comic, it goes on the list. So, and then I get yelled at by Chuck for
Missing one.
having all dumb movies on the list. No, actually, I do enjoy that first one. The first movie is great.
First movie's fantastic.
I also enjoy the third one to an extent. But
Not
like
the one with the dinosaur looks at him at the end and talks to him? Okay.
Because it's a dream. But like I mean, Vincent D'Onofrio's in Jurassic World, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But like once that happens, once World starts, I watched the first one. I haven't watched the other two, and so this one looks like it. I'll be honest, I still haven't watched the trailer for this one yet.
I watched the trailer. It looked pretty interesting to me.
Sure, I'm sure it probably is. I will probably see it,
but I'll probably
never.
Probably see it at home release. I don't know in theaters.
Yeah, exactly. I got
the
a friend.
Other 2 movies.
Yeah, I got a friend who was a big actually he rebuilt a Jeep from Jurassic Park.
Oh, like pretty cool.
It's a like 1993 original everything, and rebuilt it. And he takes that to shows. It's pretty wicked. So I'm gonna I'll put that bottom only because of when it's coming out. Like it's coming out first. It's gonna get a big weekend because you're gonna get the 4th of July weekend, but the very next week is Superman.
Mm-hmm.
And Superman, let's be honest, is unless it has a terrible box office and word of mouth is just destroying it, it's going to just go.
Gonna have really good opening weekend.
Yeah, over Jurassic World. So, but then we come into Fantastic Four. And I know it was shared in the chat, the amount of views the first 24 hours, and Superman had it by like 50 million or 45 million, something like that. But I don't know, man. Like it's gonna be it's gonna be a tough one. Like if I'm being honest.
It is. Well, not as much for me, just because of the placement. Just because of the same logic you use for Jurassic World. I would have Jurassic World 3 because I do think Superman's going to come and blow the doors off on July 11th. But then I do think the same thing is going to happen with Fantastic Four, especially depending on how the promotion goes and what the tickets are like, I would not be shocked to see some sort of Robert Downey Jr.'s Doom might be in this sort of tease to try to
Yeah.
get more people to watch it. And then, just like I said, Superman comes out, then it has 2 weeks where it will make a nice bit of money. But I do think that it won't get back to anywhere near the heights. It might have a Wonder Woman type run where it lasts and people keep going to see it, and it makes like 10, 5, 10, 15, like stuff like that going forward. But I do think the big money will be made in the first 2 weeks. I would love for Superman to be number one on this list. My heart wants Superman to be number one, but my
Agreed.
head tells me it's going to be Fantastic Four.
I think so, especially when we get the second trailer, and if they happen to show Doom.
Yeah.
I mean,
I figure that's not going to be made until like the early tracking numbers get out for that, and they find out just that might call for that, or you might not need to do that. It all depends.
I really hope they don't. Like,
I hope they don't,
because that is one of the things I've always hated about BVS, the trailer for BVS.
Oh yeah, they showed
Doomsday.
Doomsday. That immediately to me it was like, okay, well they're going to end up fighting this monster together. So
yeah, like you ruined the movie.
Yeah.
So well, I mean, movie's still great, but
yeah,
like
but ruined the surprise,
the hype. You ruined the hype.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if they show Doom in the Fantastic Four trailer, like you're gonna get the hype. That's great, but like then you're ruining the movie, like you had said.
Ruining
you're
ruining the surprise.
So,
oh my god. So,
but I don't know. So yeah, I agree with you. I think Fantastic Four will be number one, then Superman, and then Jurassic World. I don't want it to be, but
I hope I'm right.
Yeah, same.
So, Blue Beetle, we're getting a little closer to the animated series.
Yay.
Zolo said, I'm ready to come back. We're hitting hard this animated project, hoping to get this settled out this year to show everyone next year. That's way too ambitious for animation. So I feel like if they don't have anything recorded yet, then it's going to be a little while before we get the Blue Beetle animated series.
Not necessarily. Like they announced this last year.
Oh, if they don't have it, I just meant like if they don't have the animation, some of the animation already started.
That's what I'm saying. Like I think they might already have it started.
If they do, then yes, we can see that within a year for sure.
Because if they announced it last year, probably sometime like
I don't know, they officially announced
summer?
it. They just said he was going to come back. I never knew they would announce it officially. Maybe they did. We talked about it. It's been a long time.
I mean, look, 2024 was a year. If we're being honest. I mean, so much happened. But yeah, like I feel like they announced it, and like if they had announced it, that means they probably had things in the works. So depending, let's just say it's a 10 episode season.
That would be nice.
If they have the first 5 already animated, then they could start doing the recordings for the voice.
I just don't know. Like, I don't even know if it's an actual like up and running production yet to have any of those things done. But I could be right. I hope it is, Joe. I would love that. That would be awesome because it's more DCU content.
Well, and considering how quickly that they've been able to turn around Harley Quinn,
yeah,
like because
but I mean that's got a template in place now compared to the first season where half was spread out over both times.
Sure.
So,
and we don't know what the animation is going to be like. The animation could be more in line with Creature Commandos versus Harley Quinn. So
I'm assuming it's going to be more in line with Creature Commandos, most of the DCU stuff, but
most of the stuff that will connect, yes, it should anyway.
It should. So the Puppy Bowl is going to be at Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on Animal Planet and on HBO Max.
I mean, it's going to be on a lot, I guess. I heard on the radio this morning it's going to be on like 5 different things.
There's going to be a new preview for Superman. Been some backlash about no Superman trailer for Super Bowl, but this is basically free advertising here because you're already running the Puppy Bowl in using HBO Max, so
yeah,
it's just a way to cut costs there. Waller will go into production, Joe, in fall. This is via the InSnyder.
Okay.
I assume some events of Peacemaker are going to lead into that because Peacemaker comes out in August. Yeah, in August.
Oh, is that this year? Hell
yes, this year. So August or July, I think. No, August, yeah, because Superman comes out first. It comes out after, and comes out after the event to Superman too. So like what's his name? Oh my God, Rick Flag Senior, like stuff that affected him will go into
Right.
Peacemaker. Uh, James Gunn started following. Uh, I don't know his name offhand. Carter Swan, who is the senior producer at PlayStation Productions, producer of Uncharted, GT, the Last of Us, Twisted Metal, Ghost of Tsushima, God of War, etc. So he's followed by James Gunn. People are getting excited, hoping that it's a game, hoping that it's a Superman game or just a DC or DCU game in general. But a lot of good hits there, Joe. So
Sure, yeah.
lead the game. Be the senior producer on this game too, please. Uh, one little advertising spot here of a billboard for Superman. I just love the colors. I think with the blue in the background makes the symbol pop so much. And
Okay.
yeah, just thought that was cool. We haven't gotten a whole lot yet in terms of that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm assuming in the next, like, I guess after Super Bowl, we'll start seeing promos, and I should say Puppy Bowl. Sorry, we'll start seeing promos more, and we'll start seeing pictures and leading up till July. So we got like a 4 month.
We got 5 months left, and then
yeah. Okay.
Okay. Finally, Superman and Lois received the Dan Curtis Legacy Award in recognition of his outstanding contribution to superhero storytelling at the Saturn Awards.
That's fun.
Just wanted to give a little shout out. That's awesome to Superman and Lois as it ends there. And this leads us into the last thing of tonight, Joe, our Smallville Retro Recaps. Season 6, Episode 3, Wither, or as I like to say it, just another crappy Freak of the Week episode. And
I was gonna say
the Phantom Zone.
Krypton's Poison Ivy.
Dang the Phantom Zone, giving us all these Freaks of the Week.
So one thing I do remember about this season is that, because when I remember watching it, and when Clark got out, you had like 8 or 7 or 8, like whatever, shooting out away from the Phantom Zone when Clark returned. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I remember that. I remember those guys being the problems for the season. A few more so than others, obviously, with this one. But that's about it. I do not remember literally anything else from this episode at all. It was not good.
The vague thing that I remembered was the one of the things was the forest lady just like peeping up out of nowhere. I remember that and being like, "Oh well, you definitely are bad."
Yeah, right.
So
also, I do. Okay, so I take it back. I do remember Oliver and Lois and him taking the shot at the can. I did remember that.
Yes, I remember that as well, and the fact that he was dressed up as Robin
Green Arrow.
Hood.
Yeah, Robin Hood.
It was like old school Green Arrow, which I thought was really cool.
Very fun.
And yeah, it's nice because he'll be into the next episode, I think.
Yeah, because he's a mainstay.
He stays on the show. At certain point he leaves, but comes back. But
even when he leaves, he's only gone for like maybe 5, 6, 7 episodes. Because remember, 20-some episode season. Like I'm pretty sure he becomes the main cast next season.
I think next season. I think he leaves after Justice in this season and doesn't come back for the finale, and he comes back in the next season. Part of it. Then that's what I think anyway. But it's been a while. So
again, all I remember from this season is the Kryptonian enemies that pop up. I don't remember who they are, but I remember them popping up, and Lana and Lex getting married.
Yes, and this was like such a episode. Like Lex and Lana had sex for the first time. That was one thing. The Oliver stuff of it all being the benefactor for Martha, and Clark wallowing a lot, especially at the end, throwing the ball by himself. Like,
so I attributed that to he was listening in to Lex and Lana, so he's throwing the ball in time so that he's not focusing on them, on Lex actually bouncing
That's hilarious, Joe. Oh my god. And that's the perfect way for us to end this night, listeners. That wraps up Smallville retro recaps for this week. The next episode, like I said to Joe, is season 6, episode 4, Arrow. So yeah, that'll be our first appearance of Green Arrow in Smallville.
Stephen the Milk.
I didn't just say Arrow. Or come work when there's a strike. Listeners, thank you so much. Like I said, we'll be back next week with a couple more episodes of Harley Quinn and whatever news comes up. Until then, see you.
Bye, y'all. I think we're leaving. I'm not sure. I'm just gonna keep talking because I can't. It'd be a hell of an editing thing for Travis. You gotta hit the end. You gotta end it. Oh my gosh, you gotta.